Thank you again, SIUE. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Alexander. Thank you guys for playing along. I'm very excited to be here with you guys today. When I was asked to speak here, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be coming for a whole bunch of reasons. Two very important ones. Number one, this event geared toward African American women reminds me of the many events that I attended when I was a freshman at Texas State University, San Marcos, not too long ago, but long enough ago, that was geared toward Black women. And I always look forward to those events, and later I helped actually host them my sophomore, junior, and senior year. And I always felt like it was great to have events like this where Black women, Black students can come together and work to help and uplifting each other. And so whenever I'm asked to come to events like this, I'm just always very excited. And so I hope you guys are taking advantage of this. I hope there are going to be more events like this offered in the future and that you guys make a point of attending. The second reason why I was excited to be asked to come here is because while I lecture across the country to different student bodies, students of all ethnicities, there is no one who I enjoy speaking to more than my smart, sophisticated, success-driven, young African-American women. Now, sometimes I do kind of get my events messed up. I don't know where I am. So let me try that again and make sure I'm in the right place. Y'all are smart, aren't you? Yeah. And sophisticated? Yeah. Success-driven? Yeah. I don't believe so that you're beautiful because I can see, right here. I see that we have some men in the audience, and I do know that where Black women are, Black men are too. And so this event isn't necessarily geared toward you, but everything I say is applicable also. And so welcome my smart, sophisticated, handsome fellas. Can I see where y'all are? I heard all the whooping and neighbors calling out and everything else. I know they're good. So I wish that, honestly, I wish that I could just kind of leave on that high note, having paid, a pretty good amount of money for giving a good introduction. But that is not the real reason why I was called here. It wasn't all fun and games. I was actually asked to come here to address what appears to be some serious issues involving a good amount of young African American women on campus. Whether or not you know about these issues, I'm sure, even if you're a freshman, how many freshmen do we have here? Just raise your hand. Okay. Okay, so then good. I'm glad to see that we have a good representation of sophomores, juniors, and seniors. There are a lot of issues that are affecting African American women, and I feel like this is the perfect time and the perfect audience, and of course, it's at the beginning of the semester, for you guys to address issues facing African American women, because there are issues. Now, the title of this is Black Girls Who Rock, the Academic Success, but as SIUE has told me, and I'm sure that some of you guys who are kind of sophomores, juniors, and seniors know, some of y'all are rocking everything but academic success, all right? Some of y'all are rocking to fighting each other, hitting each other when you should be hitting the books. Some of you guys are rocking to disrespecting faculty and staff, the very people who actually get paid to help you, okay? Some of you guys are rocking to low GPAs. Now, I know low GPAs, some people 2.5 is okay, but that's not okay to me and to most people. And low graduation rates. Y'all are paying too much money in student loans. You're not having to pay them right now, but you'll see where you want to focus on graduating. And lastly, some of you guys, not all of course, not to demonize Black women, because most of y'all are doing good and looking good too. But some of y'all are rocking to reputations that you don't want to hear anyone talk about you behind your back, because you would be horrified to hear what they say. So these are some of the things that I would like to talk about. One of the first things that we're going to talk about is the fighting on campus. Before I get ahead of myself, I want to go ahead and point out that it is not all Black women on campus. But I feel like when you are at a predominantly white university, at PWI especially, you guys need to know that you represent each other, okay? And you guys have to work to uplift each other. It's like we're all in this kind of together kind of thing. Because while faculty and staff, are smart, they're degreed, they should know not to bind stereotypes, when you have the majority of your students who are having disciplinary action, getting in fights, and they're black women, that tends to kind of send a message that, beautiful, smart, sophisticated black girl walks in the room, they may be wary about you because of all the incidents that have been happening. So you all have to work together to uplift each other. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. So as part of this issue, as part of us talking, I want us to have a discussion on black girls who rock. What does it mean? What does it not mean? What does a black girl who rocks represent? What does she most definitely not represent? And the first thing we're going to talk about is fighting. So fighting among black women on and off campus. And then we'll talk about disrespected faculty, staff, and administrators, LGBAs, and lack of self-respect. And this is not me just talking down to you guys. We're going to have a discussion. I'm going to find out what you guys think. All right? And as we're talking, I want you to keep in mind I'm on the podium, but that's okay because I'm 34 years old, wasn't too far back when I was in school too. So I've been in all of your shoes as a student. I graduated from 2 predominantly white universities. I'm sure that all of you come from low income backgrounds, but I surely did. And I was just thrilled just to be able to be in college. I'm not sure if any of you guys come from environments where drive-bys were common, violence was common, fighting was common, but I surely did. I was raised near Dallas, and so I was just happy to be in college. And I really suffered from a lack of mentors. So I understand what many of you guys may be going through. So while I'm speaking, I'm not talking down to you. I'm trying to talk to you as one black girl rocking to another, okay? So first thing we're going to talk about is fighting. And just so there is what does she mean when she says fighting? I'm going to show you what I mean, all right? And you'll see just how horrible it often looks. Now, what I'm going to show you was a huge fight at St. Louis Community College, Merrimack. But based on the stats, with African American women fighting on campus, it's just as well couldn't be here. 2013 isn't even over. Okay, we still have a couple more months to go. And there have already been 32 violence-related incidents involving black women on campus. Violence as in, I'm going to whip her. I'm going to hit her. I'm going to just harm her. 32 violence-related incidents in 2013 alone. All right? And I want to show you guys how horrible it looks like, especially when it ends up on YouTube. Okay? We're just going to show a little bit of this. All right. So when I saw that, I was shocked. I see you guys are shocked too. Obviously, it was disturbing on so many levels. I don't know which level to begin on. I mean, obviously, these are African American women fighting on campus. I mean, when this fight occurred at McDonald's, it doesn't matter. It just looks bad. Fighting in broad daylight as if fighting at night is okay, but still. And these same women will fight and then they'll walk into their class like nothing is wrong. And if you notice, there wasn't just one fight. It's like there was multiple fights. There were people going to take turns. I'm going to hit right here, and I'm going to hit right there. And there was one woman who finally had the presence of mind to go ahead and put her baby down before she engaged in another fight. And hopefully someone called CPS. That was at a college in St. Louis Community College. But I'm telling you, based on the number of fights, it could have just as easily been here. And there have already been fights on this campus. And I know that some of them are often off campus. Some people have the presence of mind to say, well, I'm going to go whip a butt off campus. But it's really the same thing. So I just want to show you how horrible it looks and the perception that people often have of African American women. And again, we're all going to have to work together to improve, what we look like. The second video I want to show you is something that occurred in a dorm room. And World Star Hip Hop, and I'm showing it to you because it just shows how just hateful some African American women can be to the people who look most like them, who they should be uplifting and helping. And how people actually get drawn into fights and they can easily just walk away or, as you will see, not answer the door. seems like it's skit, but it's not.
She goes, I'm gonna push you out the door. You hit
We outside, bitches. We outside the door. Fuck being outside the building.
So what's the issue? I'm gonna tell you right now, if I'm not giving a fuck about my education, your ass will.
What are you talking about?
And you look scared as bitch.
Thank God they were caught up watching the video. Okay, I see some disturbed faces. The reason why I am playing that, even without the first words, is because you need to see what really goes on in these dorms, residence halls, as you like to call them, I know, right? These things really occur on college campuses, including SIUE, and it's important for you to see just how ignorant, okay, it really does look. But we're not here just to talk about ignorance. We're also here to talk about the reasons why some of these things occur. We're talking about the challenges that perhaps you as African American women may face, but also the root causes so that we can actually talk about solutions. Now, as I was talking to faculty earlier today for a different speech, I pointed out that I don't believe that anyone just wakes up one day and says, you know, I'm gonna go find someone to be up on. And it's gonna be a black woman. No one just wakes up one day and says, I'm gonna go get in a fight in broad daylight and get videotaped on YouTube to embarrass everyone. No one says that. There are real reasons why people are engaged in these types of fights, including African American women. Again, this fight could happen between two white women, between two males. But we're not worried about them, we're worried about us right now, okay? So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think is the cause of some of the fighting between African American women? Okay, so hold on, all right. So let's do the whole raise your hand thing like we're in college. And so I want you to just stand up and just say it out loud what you think it is. Thank you. We have jealousy. Another reason, yes ma'am, in the Black Girls Rock t-shirt, stand on up.
I think it's pride. Like, I think a lot of people feel just because somebody comes to you, like, if you don't react the way that everybody thinks you should react, then they're going to see you as a different way, and that's part of a pride thing. Like, you got to be able to walk away and pick and choose your battle.
Absolutely. Thank you, ma'am. Any other? Yes, ma'am. Absolutely, thank you. And I'm gonna actually do a little presentation on that. Is that it? And anyone else? Yes, ma'am. She said peer pressure, the people you are surrounding yourself with. Yes, ma'am. And then I'll ask.
I believe it's also the mindset that we come. I think a lot of girls come here with the wrong mindset, not trying to, it's not about graduating in 4 years. It's about being the baddest girl that they can be, or, getting out to mom's house and, doing what they can do because they're grown. And I think that it's the wrong mindset as a black woman.
Absolutely. And yes, ma'am. She said, sadly enough to say, where you are from. Now, I know this black man has something to say. He's outside looking in, he can tell you what's wrong. Yes, sir.
I feel like it's like basically, it's more of like, it's a point. It's like some people feel like that, well, most females, they feel like they got to prove a point to another female. That's one of the candidates around. I feel like,
All right, so I'll repeat what he said. He said they feel like they have to prove a point. All right? So all these things I'm going to talk about, the jealousy, I'm going to talk about the backgrounds, proving the point. And I found this always be the case. But from my perspective and from talking with so many African American women, I think that for the most part, all uncivilized behavior, uncivil behavior that you see with black women among black women, kind of always goes back to something that you learned way back in elementary school, we was talking about, and that's low self-esteem, a low concept of self. You don't really value yourself. So when you don't value yourself, it's very hard for you to find value in someone who looks like you. And Gabrielle Union did a really good job of talking about this idea of low self-esteem and how her low self-esteem caused her to not like other people, but there was no one that she liked more than another black woman because she couldn't find value in herself. And I'll tell you, oh, we're going to go ahead and see the Gabrielle Union video. And it's really short. She was giving a speech at Essence. She was given an award for being fierce. All right, so here's Gabrielle Union. You know, all her roles, she's someone who kind of has everything together. And you would think she has it together in real life, but it's anything but that in real life. She basically goes on to say about how she was in a bad marriage and she stayed. There's a low self-esteem. And there is no other people that she disliked more than the Nia Longs, the Sanaa Lathans. I love Sanaa Lathan. Right, the women who look like her. All right. There's no other people that she disliked more than black women who she saw as competitors. And I think that when it comes to black women fighting on campus, that is one of the major reasons. You may say that it's because she disrespected you, or because she tried to take your man, or because she was, backstabbing you behind your back. But to me, that's not the real reason. I say this because there are plenty of women who will have someone walk up to them, cuss them out, and they will see the value in themselves to just walk away. They don't feel like they had to, and someone said this, they don't feel like they have to have a retort. They don't feel like they have to engage in violence. They know who they are as a woman, and they know their worth. They don't have to respond violence with violence. There are plenty of women who will have someone, they're in a conflict with a man. There are plenty of women who will be in a conflict with another woman about their man, and they will say, you know what, you can have them. And they'll walk away. As to opposed to black women who have to fight over I'm sorry again. Sorry again. Okay? There are plenty of women who will just walk away when they hear that someone is talking behind their back, putting stuff on Twitter, putting stuff on Facebook. They may address the issue, but it's not going to lead to violence. It's not going to lead to a scratch on me. It's not going to lead to me getting expelled from a university that I already just paid $3,000 for the first semester. It's just not going to lead to that. So I think the difference between a woman who has a high sense of self, a high academic self-concept, is that she won't engage in those type of behaviors. So I encourage you to, the next time you feel like you're going to get in an altercation, to think about the real reason why you are doing it. Think about if you may have low self-esteem because of, as one woman said, your background. Because you come from a high poverty area and you're unsatisfied with yourself, or because you're constantly comparing your skin color, your hair, your man, your car to other women, and you feel like it's a competition. Or because you have low self-esteem because you find yourself a minority on this campus and you feel intimidated. Don't let issues you have with yourself end up affecting your relationship with other black women. If anything, you need to be working to uplift each other, even people that you don't know. If anything, you need to have at least a sense of a goose, all right? Now, y'all see all these geese on campus, right? All right. Can someone tell me what kind of formation they fly in? Who said the V? Who said that? Come on up here, ma'am. Come on up. What is the dancers earlier today? The girls, I I can't dance, but who are all my dancers today? Come on up. I want to demonstrate how if we just had sense of a goose, all right, y'all be much better. Come on up on stage. There are certain things that geese, all right, mere animals do, that people really need to do together, all right, and especially African American women. It's not going to be anything too hard. I haven't had you act something out. All right. So geese fly in a V formation, right? There's a reason you got to get a V formation. There's a reason why they do it. They don't just do it so that we can say, oh, look, you're flying in a V. That's so cool. Come on. You come right here, and then y'all go like that. All right. There is a reason why geese fly in the V formation as opposed to flying straight back. And the reason why, I want y'all to, and I'm about to embarrass you. Act like you're flapping. I'm serious. Act like you're flapping. I'm serious. Act like you're flapping. All right? I'm serious. I'm not being like, act like you're flapping so I can explain. When geese find a V formation, it helps all of them fly faster, right? It creates a current that makes it easier for her, or goose, and her to fly easier. They don't fly in a straight line because then it's just the person in the front, the goose in the front, who's having to do all the work, right? This takes the load, the V formation takes the load off of other geese. And black women need to be doing this, right? Y'all are all going in the same direction. Geese are trying to get someplace before they freeze. Y'all are trying to get someplace before you graduate. So you need to be working together, finding a formation that fits, and it does not include acting a fool, hurting each other. That's one thing geese do. Stay up on stage, my beautiful geese. Another thing the geese do, thank you, that black women can emulate is that when she gets tired, it's beautiful, when she gets tired, all right, she feels free, come on back here. She feels free to take a break. Y'all come on back. And somebody has to leave, don't they? Now what happens, okay, thank you. She just came on up. There wasn't any bickering, I'm going to be in front. All right, there wasn't any of that, but you often find that especially in organizations, don't you? Who's going to be the president? Who's going to be the vice president? There's like this intramural thing going on, all right? Geese, there's no arguing. It's the next person, next goose in line just comes up. Or maybe her from the back. There's no bickering about it, right? There's no competition about who gets the lead. It's whoever's in the best position. African American women need to act like that, especially students. One more thing that geese do. When one of them is sick, when one of them gets hurt, when one of them gets shot by a hunter. You got shot, honey. Don't sit there. All right. Now, it's a funny thing. They keep flying because they know that they have somewhere to go. Wintertime is coming. I mean, she got hurt, but we all might die if we don't keep it moving. But there's always one other goose who goes down with her. Who's going to go with her? Who's going to go help her? Thank you. There's always one more goose who goes down with the goose to the ground and stays with that goose until it either is able to fly back and find the formation or until it dies. The geese, they seriously do this. Can't we act like birds? All right, can't we at least get it together just like basic animals? Can't we help and uplift each other? So if you know that your fellow sister is having problems with academics, instead of talking about her low GPA, can you help her if she needs tutoring? If you know that your sister is having a problem with her man, instead of trying to take her man, can't you help your sister? If you know that someone's having problems, even someone you're not friends with, all right, I feel like you as African American women need to be working together to uplift each other, having a sense as a goose. Give her a round of applause. All right, so wrapping that up, black girls who rock, they don't rock to hitting each other, all right? they rock to their books. Oh, my little pretty picture is messed up. It was two really pretty African American women engaging. They were just talking. Right? One of the next things we want to talk about, disrespect of faculty and staff. So there's talk on all campuses, not just SIUE, about the increasing levels of disrespect that students, not just black women, are exhibiting on college campuses. And we're talking about basic stuff like tweeting in class, on your cell phones while a professor is talking, or coming in late, leaving early. Two really major things, like talking over your professor or getting into arguments with other students. And it's just unacceptable on a college campus. And I was going to ask you, what your thoughts were, but I already put it on the screen. All right, so, and you guys also actually talked about it, we were talking about issues of self-esteem. I think some of those root causes also relates to why we see so much problematic behavior on this campus. Now, when it comes to African American women, SIUE keeps stats on African American women just like they all do for everyone. And when it comes to conduct violations, in 2013, there were 90 conduct violations just involving African American women. 90. And we have a couple more months, so 2013 isn't even over, and already some students have already been in trouble, including some freshmen, and y'all just got here, okay? So these numbers are not made up, these are real. There's no reason for you to be disrespecting faculty and staff, right? Faculty, I was a faculty member, I was a journalism instructor for 6 years, and I will tell you that while faculty get paid okay, it's not enough to be disrespecting in class. Right? We actually came here because we love working with and teaching students, but it's hard to want to do that when we're being disrespected, when we're in a math class or English class, and you feel like the phone is more important than your instruction. So basic disrespect. Now I think that when some of the disrespect stems from a couple of things, a true lack of understanding of what is appropriate behavior. Now, I came to a very underperforming school. Like where you would see people getting cussed out, teachers actually, you would see this, teachers cussing students out, students cussing the teachers out. It was commonplace. And there were no repercussions also. So I think that one of the problems is that some people may not be used to seeing normal behavior. They may not know what is appropriate in the classroom. And that's okay for if you don't know the first 2 weeks, but after a while, you see how people behave, and there's no reason for you to be disrespecting any faculty member or any staff member that is here to help you. I think another reason why we have so much disrespect of faculty and staff, including among African American women, is because of lack of access to positive role models. Raise your hand if you have someone in your life right now who you can turn to for advice and for potential career advice. Right. So most of your hands are up, but really all of your hands, should be up. And so I think the lack of disrespect often comes from just lack of a positive role model. No one to, and I shouldn't have to say this, but no one to say, you may not want to wear those stilettos to class. Or every other word out of your mouth should not be a curse word. Or it might not be a good idea if you want your professor to respect you, for you to call her out of her name, or just walk out. Lack of role models. Third thing, I think, is low self-esteem, academic self-concept. And so what I found, especially on predominantly white colleges, is that you have African-American students, this is many of my friends, who get on this college and they're in their math class. I hated math. I was a journalism major. Biology classes, all these other kind of classes, and they find that they're not as academically prepared as they thought. Have any of you guys found that? You came and you were like, this is a little bit harder than I thought. This is not high school. All right? You don't have to write. Raise your hand. But, right, so I found that sometimes when people, feel like they can't compete, they can't do well in school, they take it out on their faculty and staff. And those are the people who are actually here to help you, to actually help you graduate. The fourth thing I wanted to talk about is mental health issues, including depression. I don't know if you guys know this, but in the African American community, African Americans often have higher rates of psychological distress, who are less likely to actually seek help. Right? And when it comes to college students are more likely, let's say 19-year-old. A 19-year-old college student is more likely to have a mental health issue than a 19-year-old who is working. And that's because on top of you guys probably having to work, you're also having academic stress. And African American women, as college students, you guys are more likely to have psychological distress, including depression. And depression often always isn't the, I'm gonna go cry in my room. That's not what depression sometimes looks like. Depression sometimes looks like you behaving in just ways that are unproductive. So you need to be considering that you may need help. And I say this as someone who, I never had full-fledged depression, but I used to be very melancholy in college because of issues with my father. And it made me just not want to, I wasn't never rude or mean, but it just made me just not want to talk with someone. And I know because I counsel Black female students that many have issues related to their fathers, related to their backgrounds. And they feel like there's something wrong with them. Right? And so you guys need to be hitting up the counseling center or finding a mentor with these issues, but there's never a reason for you to be disrespecting faculty and staff. These are the people who are here to help you. We're going to talk a little bit about that also. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is the low graduation rate. So right now, at SIUE, it's estimated that of every 3 women who walked in here today, 3 African American women who walked in today, only 1 of you will graduate. 1 out of 3. Now you'll leave SIU, but you'll leave with student loan debt, not a diploma. All right, and that is unacceptable. I think the average graduation rate is around 55%, which is still bad. But there's no reason for it to be 35%, 1 in 3 for African American women. And it's not by chance. There are reasons for this. All right, you wouldn't be here unless you were capable of excellence. You're already Black girls who rock, but oftentimes you guys just are not unprepared. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about are the reasons for the low graduation rate. And I think we have to have an honest discussion. One of the reasons is underprepared for college, right? So many of you guys may have went to high schools like mine that just did not prepare you for college. I remember I taught at Langston University. It's an HBCU, and I taught journalism classes. And I taught for 6 years, and every year, every semester, maybe, I would say, out of 10 students, 5 of them would be writing on an 8th grade level. And these are people who wanted to be journalism students. Right? And they didn't create their background, they didn't control their background, it was never their fault. I did everything I could to help them get into, to right on their level. But you have to be able to acknowledge if you're not able to perform what you should be performing, you have to seek help. I think another reason why we have a low graduation rate is lack of support systems, mentors, as one young woman mentioned. Right? So if you don't have a tradition of academics in your family, you don't have a tradition of going to college, your family, your mother, your father may not be able to tell you what it takes to succeed. It takes more than you come and sit up in the front of the class, which you should be doing. It takes a little bit more than study. It takes you creating bonds with your professors and bonds with other students who, like you, are reaching for academic success. And then another reason for the low graduation rate that people actually give, and this isn't true, is a lack of ability to resources. All right, there's counseling here, there's tutoring here, there's everything available to you. So there's no reason for such a low graduation rate. One of the root causes, though, that's funny for the low graduation rate isn't even academics. It's fighting, it's people getting kicked out. Right? There's no reason why you should leave because you got expelled for hitting somebody or for smoking marijuana. All right, there's just no reason for that. All right, so Black girls who rock to a high GPA. To me, high GPA is above a 3.0. All right, and they aim to graduate. They do all that they can to graduate. And speaking on graduation, I want to give you some basic tips that I think you, not as a Black student, but just as a student, right, can use in helping you, especially because you freshmen are this is your first time starting out, your first 3 weeks in the class. The first is to reach out to and form relationships with your professors. Make yourself more than just a number. So if your professor has 30 students in the class, just one person, they can't get to know every student or not, but they will get to know you if you introduce yourself, and if you say, my name is Chaz Pitts-Kaiser, all right, I'm a nursing major, right, I eventually want to open up my own nursing practice, can I talk to you after class, right? if you turn your professors into mentors, none of your professors are going to say, I don't have time to talk to you. In fact, they're looking for women. They're looking for men to be more proactive about their education. They want to see you as more than just a number, but it's hard to if you come to class late and then you leave an early, right? So form relationships with your professors, and it's never too late. If you're a senior, right, you need to be making sure that you have the email addresses and the numbers to all of your professors and that you're getting to know them. I left Langston in 2010. I still remain in contact with at least 20 of my students. All of them got written recommendations letters for, 3 of which I've gotten jobs for. And one young woman, I'm going to her baby shower in Texas. I'm flying out there because that's how much I love her. And it's because she came to me, her name's Lisa, and said, Ms. Kaiser, can I get your advice on something? And we became friends. You know, it was a faculty-student relationship, but I wanted to help her. Your professors, your staff will want to help you, but oftentimes you have to be the person to reach out because there's so many students they have to deal with. Does this make sense? Second thing, seek assistance immediately. All right, so what would happen with me is that all semester, the student is in danger of failing. I'm going to them, well, you know, 60 on this test, 60 on that test. And of course, at the end of the semester, they ask for makeup work. All right, you know within the first week that you get into class that this stuff is hard. I knew when I took math class that, oh, I dropped it and I went and got a remedial. There was no shame in my game. I knew I was not ready for college algebra. And I was not about to get an F. All right, same thing for science. All right, I'm an English whiz, but science and math messed me up. And I knew it. There was no shame in that. I sought help immediately. If you're having trouble in any of your classes, you need to let your professor know immediately. They're there to help you. They don't want to see you fail. And they don't want to see you fail just because, you know, they're their student, but also because failing students makes professors look bad. I'm just telling you that right now. We hate having to report, well, we had 20 students and 10 of them failed. It makes us look bad. Professors want to help you, but you have to be the person who's reaching out to them. They shouldn't be having to email you and tell you that you're failing. You know that you're failing. All right? So take responsibility and seek help. All right? There's nothing shameful in needing help, but there is something shameful in flunking out of a class and then having that on your transcript and then having paid $1,000 for a class that you failed. There's nothing cool about that. The third thing is connect with student affairs personnel. Housing, career development, counseling, they're all here to help you. They want to help you. And again, there's so many of you, it takes you actually coming to them, forming relationships with them. And the fourth thing is find a mentor super duper fast, right? So you should be finding a mentor on campus. And I want to stress something, not just black mentors. There are only so many black faculty and staff on this campus, right? Black people are not the only people that can mentor you. My best mentor, my favorite mentor, was a white man by the name of Fred Blevins, who I was signed up with the mentorship program my freshman year. And we had to meet 2 times a week, once every 2 weeks as part of the program. And I stay in contact with him 2 years ago. Someone does not have to look like you to provide you advice, to help you, to nurture you. They don't have to be your same gender. A man can help you. Right? There's a young woman earlier today who was telling me that she's a black woman, that an Indian man used to give her relationship advice. All right? And he helped her with her resume. So kind of think outside the box in terms of a mentor. Anyone can be a resource to you, but you have to reach out to them. The last thing that I want to talk about is this issue of reputations. Now, I think I don't want to misquote, but I know there's about 1,000, someone needs to tell me, student affairs, how many black women are there on campus? There's enough. All right, so let's just say that there's enough. And you know that after a while, don't all of you guys get to know each other, even if it's 2 degrees of separation? All right, so you may not know her, but you know her. And then she knows her. There's always some degree of separation. You always end up knowing someone. And you end up knowing all the dirt on somebody. All right? You have to guard your reputations, ladies. All right? You have to guard your reputations for yourself. You have to know, how you should be behaving. Behave like that. Because it's hard for black men on campus to find value in you when they just saw you twerking at a club last night, just on video, it's on YouTube. It's hard for a black man to find value in you when an alpha, an omega, and a sigma have you on their I get that list. And it's hard for your fellow African American sister to value you as a sister, to not talk about you, when everyone knows that you are a gossiper and a liar, and there is no one who you dislike more than African American women. So you have to guard your reputations. When someone speaks about you, you want it to be nothing but positive. It's hard for faculty and staff to find value in you as a student who wants to help you, when again, every other word out of your mouth is a curse word. So there just needs to be a heightening of respect for yourself and for everyone. In wrapping this up, I want to say that I hope that there are going to be many more events like this. You guys all already are Black Girls Who Rock, but it needs to be a point where you guys are all Black girls rocking together as one, and we are working to uplift each other. Thank you.